Today on No BS AI Briefing, Cloudflare just became an AI model provider. Without training a single model, Mistral open sourced a powerful voice cloning tool that you can run on your own devices. And we'll dig into the massive multi-billion-dollar deals that show why raw compute is still the most valuable resource in AI. We'll cover what this all means if you're building products right now. No BS AI Briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host Vikash Sharma, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. Let's get right to it. The theme today is all about infrastructure. It's not just about the models anymore, it's about where they run and who controls the pipes. First up, Mistral open sources its Voxtral voice stack, and this is a big one for anyone working with audio. They've released a text-to-speech model that can do 3-second voice cloning, and here's the kicker. It's small enough to run on edge devices. It's just a 4 billion parameter model. They also dropped Voxtral Transcribe 2, which is their state-of-the-art transcription tool with really low latency. The most important part for builders, it's all released under an Apache 2.0 license. That means you can use it commercially with very few restrictions. This completely changes the game for building privacy-first, low-cost voice applications because you're not making API calls to a third party. You can run it all locally, personalizing user experiences at lightning speed. Next, Cloudflare expands its agent cloud with 4 powerful new building blocks. They've added something called dynamic workers, artifacts, sandboxes, and a think framework. In plain English, they've built a specific set of tools designed to run AI agents, not just simple functions. This isn't just about compute, it's about giving agents memory, a place to store files, and a safe environment to run complex tasks. And they've integrated top-tier models like GPT 5.4 and Codex directly into this system. For builders, this is huge. It's a unified platform for compute, storage, and persistence, all designed from the ground up for agentic workflows, and it's deployed on Cloudflare's global network out of the box. That means low latency for your users wherever they are. And that brings us to our next headline, which connects the dots perfectly. OpenAI and Cloudflare are officially partnering up for enterprise agent deployment. This isn't just a casual integration. It's a strategic move that puts OpenAI's latest models, GPT 5.4 and Codex, directly onto Cloudflare's infrastructure. The idea is to let enterprises build and deploy things like customer service bots, system update agents, and internal reporting tools on a global scale without being locked into OpenAI's own hosting. So why does this matter? It's a major shift in how models get distributed. It reduces vendor lock-in to a single model provider's platform. More importantly for your product, it promises to seriously improve latency and cost by running the models at the edge, closer to your users. It's a sign that infrastructure providers are becoming the new gatekeepers, or at least the new distributors for the most powerful AI models. Now, let's talk about the raw power behind all of this. CoreWeave just inked a massive $21 billion deal with Meta. This is a deal to supply compute power to Meta all the way through 2032. And on top of that, they just raised another 3.5 billion. This follows a big deal they already had with Anthropic. I mean, think about those numbers for a second. $21 billion for GPUs. This just hammers home the point that compute is still the fundamental bottleneck in AI. For builders, this is a double-edged sword. On one hand, these long-term contracts might bring some stability to GPU pricing, which has been wild. But on the other hand, it signals massive consolidation in the compute layer. We're seeing a few specialized cloud providers like CoreWeave become incredibly powerful. And that concentration creates a new kind of dependency risk for the entire ecosystem. And finally, a story about real-world impact inside a company. The HR tech company UKG reported that its internal AI agent has hit 80% adoption among its employees. They built over 11,500 agents internally, with one called the Brand Communicator that helps standardize the company's voice. The result? They're saving 24,000 hours of employee time every single month. That is not a small number. The reason this matters for builders and leaders is that it proves the fastest ROI for AI right now might be in building internal tools for your own team. The tech is mature enough that non-technical teams can build these agents at scale. And those time savings translate directly into labor value and productivity, which is a much easier business case to make than some speculative external facing AI feature. So lots of movement on the infrastructure and application front, but the story I want to dig into is the Cloudflare and OpenAI partnership, because it's not just a product announcement, it's a signal of a fundamental shift in the AI stack. This is the most important story of the batch because it's about who controls the distribution of AI. For the last few years, the model labs, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google have owned the customer relationship. You wanted their models, you went to their API, you paid their prices. Self-hosting was an option, but it was complex and expensive. Cloudflare had its workers platform, which was great for serverless functions, but it wasn't really built for the kind of complex, stateful work that AI agents do. So, what just changed? Cloudflare didn't just add a model, they built the house for the model to live in. They added these purpose built primitives, dynamic workers for running the agent's logic, artifacts for giving it memory and a place to store files, sandboxes for running code safely, and this think framework to coordinate it all. Then they partnered with OpenAI to put GPT 5.4 and Codex, some of the most powerful models on the planet, right inside that house. This means an enterprise can now build and ship a sophisticated AI agent on Cloudflare's global network without ever touching OpenAI's specific infrastructure directly. So, who should care about this? Well, if you're a startup founder or an indie hacker, this is really interesting. You could potentially get much lower latency and better costs for your AI features by building on Cloudflare's edge network. Your agent could be running physically closer to your user in London or Tokyo instead of in a massive data center in Virginia. But there's a risk here. You're trading one form of lock-in for another. Moving a complex agentic workflow off of Cloudflare's specific primitives might be really difficult down the line. I'd advise you to evaluate the maturity of these new tools before migrating your entire production workload. If you're an enterprise leader, this gives you leverage. You're no longer just a price taker from the big model labs. You can have conversations about running these models on different infrastructure, which creates pricing competition, but it also adds complexity. Now you have another vendor relationship to manage and more operational overhead for your teams. It's a strategic trade-off, and if you're an infrastructure engineer, your world is changing. The game is shifting from managing servers to orchestrating distributed AI logic across a global network. It's a more complex but also a much more powerful paradigm. How I'd think about it as a builder is this. This is a land grab for the agent runtime layer. Just like Vercel and Netlify became the default deployment platforms for modern web applications, Cloudflare is making a very aggressive play to become the default for AI agents. They want to own the space between the model and the user. The opportunity is to build faster, more responsive global applications. The risk is that these are version 1 features. They might be buggy, they might be clunky, and the developer experience might not be as smooth as a polished vertically integrated platform. So here's my no BS take. This is real and it's important. The hype cycle is always focused on the next big model, the next GPT-6 or Claude 5. But the real durable value and power in this ecosystem might end up belonging to the companies that control the infrastructure, the ones who own the pipes, the servers, and the edge networks. This Cloudflare OpenAI partnership is one of the strongest signals yet that the battle for the AI stack is moving from the model layer to the distribution and infrastructure layer. Pay attention to this space. If you're finding this useful, hit follow in your podcast app right now. It takes 2 seconds and it's the best way to make sure you don't miss the next briefing. Alright, if you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, here it is. Ask your team, what would we build if 3-second voice cloning had zero licensing friction? This is based on Mistral's new open source Voxtral model. For a long time, high quality instant voice cloning was locked behind expensive and restrictive APIs from a few specialized companies. That barrier just completely disappeared. It's now available under an Apache 2.0 license, which is about as permissive as it gets for commercial use. This is a capability that you can now build directly into your product, run on your own infrastructure, or even on a user's device without paying per character fees. So here's how you can explore this with your team in less than an hour. First, schedule a 30-minute meeting with a product manager, an engineer, and maybe someone from design or marketing. The goal is brainstorming, not engineering. Second, before you say anything, just play them a demo of Voxtral TTS. Let them hear how it can take just 3 seconds of audio and create a realistic cloned voice. Don't explain the tech, just show the magic. Third, once they've seen it, pose that one question. Now that this is free and open source, what one feature could we build with it? Let the ideas flow. Could you create personalized audio onboarding messages for new users in their own account manager's voice? Could you build a tool that turns blog posts into podcasts narrated by the author? What about hyper personalized ads within your product spoken in a familiar voice? The possibilities are pretty wild. The point of this exercise isn't to walk out with a fully spec'd feature. It's to find one concrete idea that you can assign to a small team to prototype in the next sprint. Because this capability just went from being a costly, high friction, nice to have to a virtually free, low friction tool. Exploring how to use it isn't just a fun experiment, it's a strategic necessity. Your competitors are probably having this exact conversation, and the first products to ship genuinely useful, personalized voice experiences are going to have a massive advantage. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.